Hello, welcome to For Your Entertainment. This is Sparky. Today we're going to talk about something quite serious, so please stay with me, okay? It's something deep from the heart, and I hope you guys can understand what's been going on in my youth. Because this talk can be difficult. This is a very difficult topic, and I hope you guys can understand why it's so difficult for me to come out with this whole story, and how it made me who I am today. So bear with me, okay? Let's start with the beginning. I am born from a very simple family, I thought. My mom, my dad, but my mom had someone else before my dad, so I have half brother, half sister. Well, I still see them as my brother and sister, regardless of if we have the exact same DNA. But yeah, I started growing up in a family like that. I was not the most typical kid in the beginning. I had a difficult time because part of my families have been strange in the situations that my families fell apart very quickly. Within the family, out of the family, I don't. It's so difficult that I still don't really have the exact words for it. Especially when I was so young when it happened. I think at the age of around the age of 3 or 4, they started to give me quite a lot of chocolate, or like one of my grandmas did. I was on you couldn't handle me at all when I had that. No color stuff, no chocolate, that sort of stuff. I was a hyperactive kid then, very. You just couldn't handle me. Nonetheless, the grandma did that secretly behind my parents, and my dad has been, well, it's the mother of my dad. My dad has been kind of okay with it. He fell out with my mom because of that, and it didn't matter. I get to my first classes of primary school when I was the age of 4 till the age of 12. We do have like groups in the Netherlands from group 1 to group 8, so you have that as primary school. I went through every class, but every class you kept the same people, you hung out with the same people. Well, eventually I lost everyone. Every friend that I had. The reason why, they became older, they didn't grow attached to me anymore. They were bullying me. I was a very simple target. I'm still am a difficult person when it comes to losing a game, like simple game, chess, or playing online games. I cannot always handle a loss, but most of the time I've learned back then, which is a good thing. But since then, I lost everything. I lost everyone. I lost everything, and then, well, I was bullied regardless. If I was bullied and kicked and whatnot at school, I come home with my blue spots, with bruises and everything, and then I get scolded by my dad, who did then kick me or hit me or whatever. I got in a very abusive relationship with my dad, and until the day today, he is kind of ignoring the fact that happened. He says it never happens, and it's difficult for me because I'm now trying to reconnect with him. It's sorry for the very very heavy topic there, but I have to come out with it. I feel like I need to tell what I have been going through, and I want to clear out the air, as so to speak. Then finally the decision was made where my mom had enough of this abuse. Not only I got the abuse, but my mom, even my half brother and half sister, they all got the abuse from him. And there was one reason towards that. well, one big reason which why he kept going, and that was alcohol. Back then, it was alcohol. He didn't stop drinking. He didn't do anything else. Until recently, like a few years ago, not even too long ago, he almost got in danger for his own health and had surgery because of that. So he started to change his life after it. But back to then, at the age of 11 and a half, it was around September, I remember, because my aunt picked me up from my school back when I was in group 8, the last group, and she said like, oh, I'm picking you up instead of your mom, and we're going to get something to eat. You don't have to school later. I'm like, okay. And what then basically happened, she drove me to our new home. The home that I knew that we were going to live in. For 1 year, I kept myself quiet for the reason that I didn't want to live there anymore. I didn't want to live with my dad anymore at that point. It was that horrible. So my mom has shown me the house before. I don't know if it was her or someone else, but at least they showed me once before, and they said this is where we're going to live eventually. And back then I asked as well, like, is it only going to be you and me then? And she said yes. So I was like, okay, I know where this is going, and I kept myself quiet for a year. It's not the simplest thing to talk about. As I said, it needs to come out eventually. But some people already do know, and I'm very, very appreciative of them listening to my story, as well as you guys now listening to mine. Well, back to where we are. So the divorce happened. I live separately with my mom, but not even 3 weeks in, and I got the message that my dad was crying, was really sorry about everything, apologetic and whatnot, and wanted to arrange some stuff with us. I eventually visited him with my mom, and there was someone else with it. I don't know anymore who it was. But then again, he saw me and he started crying. And I was like, oh, but how can you start crying while you know what you did? And that was when I was 11. I told that to myself as well. So those kind of things accumulated. I've been bullied, pestered, manipulated, abused back before I was 12. Then finally I got at least something to live for, because it's been horrible on me. I was a kid, I still felt like, well, what's my reason still to continue? My mom bought me a dog, a little Shih Tzu called Buffy. The reason why it was a Shih Tzu is very simple. I have an allergy for dogs, and that allergy is yeah, well, some dogs cannot give me that allergy, and that was one of them. So I spent a lot of time with that dog for years before I finally moved to here, to Breda. And yeah, that was the best for me, because there was almost no one else anymore at that point. I had a few old friends that I hung out with. When I was 12, I started to become more doing everything on my own. My mom was there a little bit to help me, but I felt like she was at that point doing more important stuff because she wanted to get a healthy relationship again with someone else, which was also difficult for me because I started to live there for a bit, but he had kids as well, and they kind of had an abusive mother as well, sort of mentally. Her mother manipulated them to play their dad against me, and so on and so on. That playing the kids against the dad, and that's just been awful as well, because I started to live there, and they kind of said that their dad gave me more love than to me than to them. And since then, he started to being an asshole towards me. Sorry for the word, but they started to be a dick. Eventually, that grew away because I started to live more in that old house that we have. We kept it for one reason only, for if I would go studying close by. But that didn't happen eventually, but we kept the home. I started to live there more than in that place where my mom lived. So I was more on my own. A lot of my old friends can kind of prove to you guys that this has happened. I was a skater. I started to do skateboarding because that was one of the things that I could do on my own. I did a lot of sports in my youth as well, but I couldn't handle some things anymore with the stress that I had and the depression that I had gone through there. I found that those group of friends that I stayed with grew apart as well when everybody started to do more studies and started to live on their own. We didn't hang out at the skate park anymore for that much. I tried to do that as an extra activity to keep myself busy, next to my middle school, which was also not the best place to stay at. I had a lot of trouble there as well, because the same people from primary school, a few of them went to that same school and kind of kicked off the same things again and again and again. It kept following me. It's this thing that kept following me. Somehow I felt I was more or less a very vulnerable person, and I don't want that. I'm not that person anymore, luckily. I can talk about it. I'm stronger than back then. I know what to talk about. And there's one particular reason that definitely changed my life, and I definitely made the best life choice ever, is to move here away from all of that for my studies and joining the fandom. Because if I didn't do that, if I was not this now, I don't think I would get that good feeling about myself anymore. I don't think I would see the most important stuff anymore. There are so many important stuff in this fandom, like friendships, creativity. You have a lot of positivity and love for each other, despite what people say. Despite all the drama that happens, there is a lot to live for. And there's so many people to live for. You're not just this small group, your whole big community. You learn to go by. And believe me or not, despite all the things that happened back then, and all the thoughts that I had back then, and all the realizations that I should live on, I had thoughts of literally getting rid of myself. I had those thoughts, and there's sometimes a relapse, but not that much anymore. It's not that anymore, and I don't want to have it again. I don't want to. So this is why I'm telling this now. I want you guys, I hope you guys are gonna kind of help me with that, but also help yourself, because if you have something like the same feelings, don't be afraid to talk about it. If you have something bad in your youth or bad going on right now, talk with your friends, talk with your family, talk with at least someone that can help you and can help you out. I have done that. I have been there. I've actually went to psychologist and for my big reason of not being able to accept that my dad ignores the fact that he did all of that abuse. And I started to accept that, start to reconnect, start to get a bond, but it's still kind of an uncomfortable feeling there. It is still not fully gone, but you at least start to live. You at least start to learn. And this is something I want to give to you guys. Please, 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 if you can and need help, go get it. Go wherever you need to go. Because I have my experiences, you have yours. I just gave you my full, big, detailed experience of what I had in my youth and how we are right now. It's still freaking difficult to talk about it, and I don't know. It's I don't speak only for myself. I know that, because there are a few others that shared this with me, that shared the same life with me. Like my sister and my brother, for example, they are 10 and 11 years older. And they had to deal with their own relationships and their own fuss with my dad, for example. So they had gone through shit as well, and I feel genuinely sorry for them that they had to go through that as well. Because I, back then, didn't think about that. I think about it now as well. And I'm trying to reconnect with my brother and sister. My sister is a bit more difficult right now, but my brother has a nice, lovely family. He has 3 kids at this moment, and a lovely wife. They live it. I'm really happy, and my sister does her own thing. She has made big accomplishments, and then there's me. I'm still studying. I'm still wallowing in pain. Because everything that I seem to do is that I'm getting followed by my past so badly that I cannot ignore it. And I want to get rid of it right now. I want to continue where I left off. I want to live. I want to learn. I want to love. And I want to love everyone. I want to love my family. I want to love my lovely girlfriend. She has been stood by me for a long time with this as well, and been nothing more than very supportive about the fact, as well as you guys. You don't know you don't know what else happened until today. Now you know. You know who's the guy behind this channel, and I hope you're gonna live, love, and learn as well. And seriously, support everyone that you can in their troubled times and whatnot. I am here. I want to do the same. I have been working on butt off to get things done, and now I'm here. Now I want to go further. And I can't do that without help. And I'm gonna get it. I hope this story kind of inspired you, that you want to continue living and living the life that you want to the fullest, to the best you can. Again, I'm sorry guys for the very, very serious talk here, for the depressive message from my youth. I hope you kind of understand now where I'm coming from, and that we can continue where we left off. Nonetheless, I hope you have a lovely day. You're gonna be awesome, you're gonna stay awesome, and you're gonna stay Anthrotained. Thank you guys, and love you all. Bye.